Hello and welcome to Segments Has Spoken, a Survivor Fancast. We are here, myself, we, as in Amber and myself, are both
hello.
here. Hey,
I'm
Amber.
here too.
Yeah, we're here.
We're both here.
We're both here and we're talking about Survivor Ghost Island, Season 36, Episode number 6, titled... I had it written down.
Fate is the homie.
Fate is the homie. And I think that if there's one thing that we can say after watching this show is like, man, fate is the homie.
I mean, that rang true.
It did ring true. So we are very excited to be with you guys here again, breaking down another great episode. I felt, overall, it felt a little bit slower to me. Some exciting things, but it felt a little bit slow.
We never saw Ghost Island. There were no idols. There were no references to previous seasons that I was aware of.
There's no reward challenge.
No reward challenge,
And so it was all a bit, a little bit slower. But last episode also was slower. But I thought they did a really good job in episode 5 showing us the stories. They showed us a lot of stories about why people wanted to be there. And I really enjoyed last episode, maybe even a little bit more than I enjoyed this episode. But there's some great stuff.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
About.
Can't wait to get into it.
But before we do that, Amber, we got some feedback.
Yay!
And so try it, if you will, to go back in your memory. Think about episode 5.
Yes,
right?
I'm on it.
And our friend of the show, Conrad, sent in this feedback. He said, first of all, I'm surprised that Michael wasn't voted out. He really put a target on his back when he came clean about the idol after the tribal council.
Yeah, that was shocking how well everybody seemed to take that.
Yeah, I completely
Michael,
agree.
great job lying. Yeah. You're such a good liar, buddy. Great job.
Yeah. I think what they respected was the gameplay.
True.
This is a group of people that have watched this show for many, many years. They understand and appreciate good gameplay. Mm-hmm. And I think they realized Michael's back was up against the wall, and we're going to vote him out anyway. It doesn't really matter.
And he was honest. He just came clean and owned that.
Yeah.
This is what I had to do, guys. I hope you understand, and they did.
Yeah. So I'm with you, Conrad. I was also a little bit surprised, but I think that's some of the reasons. Now, Conrad continues, for the immunity challenge. I'm not surprised that Malolo didn't win. Yes, and this is my editorializing, Amber. Malolo is cursed. We've definitely learned that.
Seems to be confirmed tonight.
Absolutely. I'm not surprised that Malolo didn't win. I feel that Chelsea was very much responsible for that loss.
Yep.
I completely agree. There was one point where Jeff Probst, while narrating, literally jogged past her while she was running up the sandy beach. My family and I just started laughing as Probst was passing her.
Yeah. And he just has a casual jog. So if he's beating you, that's not a good sign. Yeah,
and I was listening to an exit interview with Stephanie, who got voted out in episode 5, and the guy interviewing her asked her something similar. Did Chelsea throw that competition? And Stephanie said, Chelsea's not smart enough to throw a competition.
Oh, no.
And she's like, she was so hungry and dehydrated that she just was kind of lethargic and laying around camp. She thinks she just couldn't walk in a straight line, let alone run down the planks and stuff. So, but I agree. She was definitely responsible in a big way for that loss. She did not help them out.
Nope.
All right, Amber, you want to read the last bit of his
I love
feedback?
this. So Conrad picked his own contestants for the outplayed, outlasted, and outwitted categories, and because we've been doing that at the end of each episode, so it's great to hear from somebody else. For outplayed, he said he agrees with us. Chris played really well. He didn't miss once. This really isn't much debate.
Yeah, that was he
Chris
was throwing
it out of the
throwing the bean bags and doing that thing.
He was amazing.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of last episode. And he was, what did he say? I threw some rocks in my day or something like that. I love that. So
he didn't shine as bright in this episode, but we'll get to that. Conrad said for his outlasted, he thinks Chelsea really managed to go by unnoticed. She did so poorly in the immunity challenge that it was a big surprise when people seemed not to notice later on.
That is a great call, Conrad. That is not what we said. But I think that is the fact that she did kind of not do that well, and yet nobody had their eye on her.
Yeah, that's a great way to pick the outlasted. Sometimes that's a hard one to pick.
Sometimes you got to blend in. These people that take charge, and the leaders, Chris, Dominic. Some of these people are
they're targets all the
big
time.
Targets. Yeah. So I like that. Chelsea. So she might be the kind of person that gets to the end because everybody feels like, well, I can beat her.
We'll take Chelsea. Yeah. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Those always kind of drive me crazy, but they're necessary. And then Leslie, he said for Outwitted, he's going with Chris again. He didn't do something that really stood out for the Outwitted category, but that's exactly my point. After such an amazing play in the immunity challenge, he tried to blend in with the crowd. So he needed to be careful, probably not to establish more of a target on him. After doing so well, he just needed to kind of fade into the background.
Yeah, and I agree. I think the other thing that got him the Outwitted was his connections that he made with Donathan. Like that was, was that a play or is that an Outlast or an Outwit?
Sharing about how much they miss their moms and caring for their moms and grandma.
He made many, many good social moves. This week, not so many good social moves. It seems like the producers are kind of putting him back in that other category again.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how the edit's been going. Maybe they can edit him one way or another. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to share your thoughts with us, you can find us at segmentscast@gmail.com, just like Conrad did. We'd love to share your thoughts. You could give us your picks for Outwit, Outplay, Outlast in each episode, or just let us know some of the thoughts that you have going in. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at segmentscast.
Awesome. Yes, thanks again, Conrad. All right, Amber, let's jump into episode 6, Fate is the Homie.
Rolling with the homies.
I must admit, and Amber can attest to this, that earlier today, maybe even before we went to work.
Oh, it was. This morning, yeah.
I said, I think we're going to see 3 tribes tonight.
And I said, Mark, that's ridiculous.
And here we go. I was like, there's 15 people left. They did 3 tribes with healers, heroes, and hustlers. I think there's some interest in because of the current tribal lines. We're in Navidi, but we're old Malolo, or we're Malolo, but we're old Navidi. Like going to 3 tribes radically shifts some of those alignments. It didn't as much as I thought it was going to, but
it really narrows it down. 3 against 2 is pretty much what you're going to end up with.
But it could have been 4 against 1.
True.
Or 1 against 4. It could have been a little bit different. I thought it was going to end up being a little bit more diverse than it was. So it's interesting that all 3 tribes are 3 old Navidi, 2 old Malolo. And this was towards the end of the notes that I took at tonight's episode was, I hate all the talk of these old tribal lines. I find it irritating and confusing.
So here's the thing. I really noticed that a lot in this episode too, because it does seem ridiculous when you weren't Navidi, you were Navidi 2 swaps ago, and now you're still considering yourself Navidi.
Right.
But there had to have been conversations in that very first couple of days where people said, hey, if we just stick with these lines, no matter what else happens, then when we get to the merge, we'll all find each other again and we'll be fine. So that's what they're relying on, like Angela or somebody else who's really counting on this Navidi system. She's counting on that, helping her when she gets to the merge.
Yeah, but I think that we saw in and I don't even know, the tribe, the Navidi tribe, the second Navidi tribe, the one that never went to tribal council.
Yeah.
That it seemed that in that group, the alliances and the old tribal lines were not as stark or as chiseled in stone as we saw in the Malolo tribe.
Yeah, definitely. Like we mentioned, with them not having to go to tribal council, they didn't have to draw those lines, and they could just kind of get to know each other. And it would be really interesting to see how they would have voted if they had to, but they never did. Now it's all stirred up again.
It's all stirred up again.
The pot is stirred.
Yeah, and it does seem that, we already touched on this a little bit, that Malolo is cursed. And we saw the preview for next week's episode that they're actually burning the Malolo flag.
That's kind of funny. I wonder if the Survivor people were okay with that. It makes for interesting television, I guess.
Yeah.
But 5 out of the 6 tribal councils have been Malolo.
Yeah.
That's rough.
And Jeff tonight at Tribal, and I'm not going to get too much into Tribal here, but he said, Malolo, you guys have lost 5 out of the 6. But I'm like, is it this group? It's just like, it's been a variety of people that have been on Malolo.
That's where you can get into the fun of the curse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's just the name. I got to burn that flag. I think it might work out well for them.
Malolo is the worst tribe in the history of Survivor.
Malolo's feeling low.
Low. So, all right, Amber, let's jump in. What was the breakup of these 3 new tribes?
Okay, so in our Malolo, we've got Michael. He's been Malolo the whole time. He's the only one. We've got Desiree, James, Angela, and Kellen. So when they got together, Desiree, Angela, and Kellen were feeling like they were a pretty strong alliance. Yeah. They were all original Navidi.
Well, yeah. And then James and Michael were kind of on the outside. But I was surprised that Angela was still considered tight with Desiree and Kellen. I guess because of Navidi and maybe your kind of theoretical behind the scenes, early on the first couple days on their beach, they were like, let's stick together through thick and thin. And maybe there was something like that. But yeah. I thought that Angela got burned bad enough in the whatever that was, the second or third tribal council, that she was like,
yeah, so that's where I feel like they're trying to rely on these original alliances to take them to the merge because, so Desiree and Kellen were original Navidi. They were shocked that Chris and Wendell had turned on Angela. Like they were disappointed in Chris and Wendell and they still felt an ownership as part of that as well. And they must just be expecting to all team up again at the end. I'm hoping things shake up enough that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I don't love that.
No.
I don't love that. And I wonder if that has, unfortunately we just don't know, but has that happened on previous seasons?
Yeah, that may have proved the most successful.
Yeah, the first people, when you just have to, we have to pick somebody. So we're going to pick these people and let's stay tight. And it's been very effective, but if the other team if Malolo could win any competition, then we'd have a whole different game,
Exactly.
So, yeah, and so kind of a bummer. But I didn't think that this new Malolo tribe seemed very powerful. You got Michael, which I think is maybe my current favorite player in the game. He's athletic, he's smart, he's social. I feel like he is the whole package.
And being so young, he's just really impressive.
Being so young, and he's been on the outside looking in, and I just hope they can win something next week, or else he is super gone. So they need to win a competition next week.
I wrote down as part of that, getting to know that new tribe situation too. It's a little bit of foreshadowing. Didn't realize James said, this is actually a bad swap for me. I was doing pretty well, and now I'm not. Yeah, not in such a good spot.
Definitely was a bad swap for him.
Sensing everything wasn't ideal.
Yep. All right, who do we have on Navidi? The new Navidi. New Navidi, I guess we call it.
So we've got Dominic over there, thrilled to be without Chris. He's been Navidi the entire time. So Michael was Malolo the whole time. Dominic's been Navidi the whole time. Everybody else has had a variety.
Okay.
We've got Donathan, Chelsea, Bradley, and Libby on Navidi.
I felt like this tribe swap was not good for our friend Donathan.
Yeah, I know you're worried about him. You felt like he had bonded with Chris, maybe?
I think that he needs to have time to build his social game. Okay. And so we saw him introducing himself to Dominic for the very first time. And I think that's what made me feel safe with him in Navidi, because you saw him. He connected with Laurel. Yeah. He connected with Chris. He was making these social connections, and people are like, oh, we really like this guy. Yeah. Which moves him out of let's get rid of him because he's weak.
You're right. And
so that's why I was nervous.
It's kind of all gone to the wayside now. He was with Libby and Dominic in the previous tribe configuration.
Yeah, and I've never seen him and Libby chat.
Well, apparently she's the flirter. Apparently she's Parvati 2.0, and she probably realizes she can't flirt a lot with Donathan.
Yeah, that could be.
She should be able to be friends with him. She should still be giving it an effort.
Yeah, and so he, what did he say? She's the devil in an angel's body tonight.
That's what Dominic said, yes.
And that, she's Parvati, and for people who are new to the show, Parvati was this, did she win that season?
But she's in another season we haven't seen yet.
Okay, so
we saw the first season
12
she was
or 13, she was
Cook
in
Islands?
the first time, and maybe she came in second or something like that.
Yeah, she got real far.
She got very far, and she, a lot of it, she would get close to guys, kind of flirting, and so she would build relationships that way. So we see, they say that Libby does that, but we've not seen it happen. We haven't heard her talk. We haven't seen her play any game. And so she's getting a real mellow edit for being Parvati 2.0.
Yeah, I feel like we're missing something there. Maybe it'll come into play a little bit more.
And we've got
later on. Oh, Bradley gets to go back to the Navidi beach, and he's thrilled. He says, "You wouldn't believe the squalor we've been living in." We had to pause and write that down. It made us laugh so hard.
And I guess that you need that person in Survivor that you love to hate. And is he as bad as he seems?
Probably
I don't know.
Not,
Probably
but man,
not.
they edit him in a real annoying way.
Like I said, I listened to that interview with Stephanie, who got voted out last week, and she said that she really, because the edit in the show showed her and Bradley kind of being at odds. And she said, in actuality, while that was true, she hated talking game with him. She found him vain and annoying. When they would not talk about game, when they would just talk about real life, she actually got along with him great, and she really liked him.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
But once he started talking about game, he was so arrogant that she was just like, ugh.
Wasn't he the one who was like, "We will see," when she said she didn't want to go home?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. And then tonight, what did he say? Like, maybe I'm better than I thought. Well, I thought I was going to be a fantastic player. But
maybe I'm as fantastic as I thought.
I was just like, oh, man, I would just like to... I just want to see you go home, but then we don't have that person.
You do kind of want to see him fall.
Hey, so we got Bradley back on Navidi. In his defense, that Navidi beach is incredible.
I mean, they've got chairs
lounge
and blankets.
chairs.
I've never seen chairs on Survivor. That is crazy.
Apparently a working coffee maker.
The coffee made Chelsea cry, which I could see that. I could totally see that. You finally get something delightful. You're finally sitting in a chair. Yep, she cried.
And we've got Chelsea, we've always talked about a little bit. Seems to be kind of just laying low and staying in there. Then we got our final brand new tribe, Yanuya.
Yanuya.
The green tribe. And who's on that tribe?
Chris, Laurel, Wendell, Jenna, and Sebastian. To me, this is a strong tribe.
This is the tribe, man. Like, that's exactly what I thought. Wendell was, from the beginning, my pick to win the whole thing. I think he's got great social game. I think he's strong, but he doesn't have that target on his back like Chris is strong.
True. He's just flying under the radar. Exactly. Good job, Wendell.
And you got Laurel, who is just an absolute beast, a competition beast, and she's super smart.
She's smart, and she knows. Like today, she said she's biting her tongue. She knows when to speak and when to not speak, and a lot of people don't understand that.
Oh, yeah. Laurel is just fantastic. She is, again, one of my favorites. Jenna's on that team, and I asked Jenna, we just don't know much about her.
I think her hair smells. I don't know if it smells good or bad.
Yeah.
I think she can braid, but I never saw it.
We don't know. and then her love interest, Seabass, is on there. And
Sebastian.
I was happy to see that they are on a team together, because I just want to see... I guess I want to see Jenna do something interesting.
Yeah.
And so I think that gives her an opportunity. And I
do too.
I think she's safe on that team. I don't think they're going to lose much, and so I don't see Yanuya going to tribal anytime soon.
I don't either. The previous tribe division, I thought that Sebastian and Chris were the most coordinated, the fastest at completing things. I felt like a lot of the competitions came down to which one of them could do it a little bit better. And so the fact that they're on the same team now, whew, that's awesome.
And Laurel, who's and
Wendell. I mean, goodness sakes.
Yeah, no slouch. So, yeah, I'm excited to see that team. And
so Chris had some comments about being a model and how people might judge him. He made the big reveal to Laurel that he's a model, and she's like, I could care less.
And what? Oh, he used some word incorrect. He's like,
he did. That was
I don't know why. People think models, for some reason, they think we're self-absorbed and not very smart. And then he used some word wrong, and he was just constantly talking about. Somebody else was talking about, oh, you play volleyball? Oh, I played volleyball. Chris says, actually, I played sand volleyball here, and our team won the championship in Chicago. And it's like. And it reminded me of when Angela was like, I'm so mad they all voted for me. Chris is like, that means what they really want is me. Like, settle down, Chris.
Come on, dude. Come on.
So, he's a little bit self-absorbed.
Somebody posted his model quote. I think we've already said most of it. I was looking for that. But anyway, I liked that Wendell was really happy to be with Chris. He said he missed Dominic, but he didn't like the strife between Dominic and Chris, and he was happy to still be teamed up with Chris. So I think that could be a really strong group going forward.
And you know that Chris kind of won me over last episode.
Yeah, big time.
And so there is a big handful of people that I really like, and there is a few people down at the bottom that I don't like so much, and then there's a bunch of middle people. This week, a middle person got voted out.
Oh, I think beneficiary, that might have been the word that Chris used wrong.
Oh, maybe that is. I don't know.
He said people think that models might be self-absorbed. They might be dumb. Just a lot of things that might not be beneficiary to me in a tribe setting. That's on the Survivor CBS Twitter feed. If you're not following that, jump on it.
All right, Amber. So we spent a lot of time talking about those tribes.
That's
so
a
let's
big
get
deal.
to,
Split into 3 tribes, and you predicted it. I'm super impressed.
Thank you. So let's talk about this immunity. Then let's jump into our outplayed, outlasted, outwitted.
All right, no reward challenge this time. Just splitting the tribes was enough content, apparently.
We had an immunity challenge wherein there was one person standing upon a perch from each tribe, yelling out commands to 2 groups of 2 of their other tribe members that were tied together
and blindfolded
and to maneuver through some sort of a obstacle course kind of thing to find puzzle pieces.
Yeah, 3 bags of puzzle pieces, and then they had to put the puzzle together, still blindfolded, with the same person bellowing the orders. And man, it was stressful.
Intense.
That was really stressful.
And so for Malolo, Desiree was the caller. For Navidi, Dominic was the caller. And for Yanuya, Wendell was the caller. And what we noticed, Amber, at least for me, Dominic and Wendell seemed calm and communicative and like helpful. And Desiree was like a screaming.
Oh my gosh! I think she's just trying to project her voice, but it did not go over. It was like really grating to listen to.
Really grating and real.
And we're big
bossy.
Desiree fans, but oh my word, it turned a corner this week. Yeah,
it was real bossy and it
not
was just
like
helpful.
she just wasn't thought. She didn't think through what she'd be like, move closer to Angela, move closer to Angela. I'm like, they can't see Angela; they're blindfolded.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, so that was rough.
Get the triangle, she says.
But even so, they were the first ones. That tribe was the first ones to get through the obstacle course to get to the puzzle. They
found all their puzzle pieces, yeah.
And the other guys were doing well. It looked like there was a moment when Donathan and Chelsea, who were connected together, actually were untying the wrong bag of puzzle pieces of, I guess, Yanuya or Malolo or somebody.
How would you know?
And they just didn't know. And so to me, I was nervous at that point because I was like, uh-oh, Navidi's going to lose. Donathan's going home because he's just botching this.
Blame him, yeah.
But that's not what happened. They all got through there. They got to the puzzle, and Malolo gets there first. They're starting to undo their puzzles. Yanuya gets there, and suddenly Wendell realizes, I've left one of the bag of puzzle pieces all the way back.
I'm glad he didn't have to bring all those blindfolded people back with him.
That would have been brutal.
But he had to run through the obstacle course and get the bag of pieces he left behind, because, of course, all the blind people wouldn't know they left one behind, the blindfolded people. So, anyway.
Yeah, and so they get there last, but Wendell is so like calm and collected and like it's a circle. This is what's going on. He's just explaining the puzzle, giving them, and all the while Desiree's like, the triangle, the white
the other
one.
upside down, the other upside down.
Oh man, it was very stressful.
Oh my gosh, it was so stressful. And you could tell, like Angela would go, "Don't get mad at me. I can't see it."
So
I like it. I think it was Dominic. Where he was like, I need a white piece. And they're like, we can't see. He's like, I know, I'm just telling you to move them so I can see if there's a white piece. But Libby hit her face, man. We didn't get to see her afterwards.
Real bad.
I mean, she slammed into a fence post with a blindfolded face.
Yeah, and so did Chelsea at the very end. She was running back and so Chelsea slammed into the support post of the...
Oh my gosh, it's dangerous. Yikes.
Yeah, I imagine they signed a waiver beforehand.
Of course.
And so who finished first, Amber? I think it was Yanuya.
And they were the last ones.
Yeah.
They're the ones where Wendell had to go back and get the bag. They were way behind, but his methodical, I think maybe being a carpenter and whatever, fitting wood pieces together, that might have really helped him.
Yeah, I thought that tribe is super strong physically, but they came out and won this.
This was in
the mental competition.
Yep.
So that was great. And then it's down to Malolo and Navidi. They're kind of going head to head. Dominic also, I thought, did a really good job at calling and kind of instructing them.
And I think he's in a management position, construction management. Yep.
And he did great. Just got them, and they finished right before Malolo. And at that moment, you're just like, there's something wrong with this tribe.
Yeah. Why did they lose again?
It's just,
that's so sad. And now they're only going to have 4 next week, which makes it even harder to win. Yeah.
Yeah, that was brutal.
And they voted out somebody strong because they're silly.
They're super... Yeah, and so we go back after the immunity challenge back to Malolo, and it is a morose place.
It's real sad. Desiree's crying. I did feel bad for him. You don't want somebody to screw up, and she didn't mean to. She tried her best, and that she said she's used to succeeding, not failing, which,
She's got a really tough backstory. She was homeless and living in like Chicago or some big city, living in her car, got a job, but still lived in her car, and she just pulled herself up by her bootstraps. A very, really, really powerful story, and so she's come from difficult situations, and I think there is something inside of her, right, that is trying to prove to somebody, I am valuable,
I'm worth it.
I am somebody.
Absolutely.
And so as a person who also can struggle with identity, I can definitely go, yeah, man, I know exactly how that feels and how.
And you've never had to live in your car.
I've never had to live
in my car. But I get
it.
I mean, everybody has those feelings to an extent.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And so so the conversations are going, things are going back and forth. I was convinced that Michael and James had pulled Angela over to their side.
I thought so too, because she shouldn't have alliance to Navidi anymore, because there are other Navidi people turned on her. It was Kellen and Desiree both wanted to vote out James, and they wanted Angela with them. And then James and Michael both wanted to vote out Desiree, and they wanted Angela with them. So she was the swing vote. They were both trying to persuade them, but it felt like, according to the editing, that she had swayed to the boys' side.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And so we get to tribal, and a lot of conversation tonight. Mm-hmm. Jeff really asked a bunch of questions and trying to draw people out. And I mean, it was kind of all over the place. I didn't know. I felt pretty confident that Desiree was going home.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like. And then we voted, and come to find out, it's 4-1.
4-1. So what happened? Why did Michael do that? Last time he voted against Stephanie as well, but at that point I thought he was trying to kind of suck up to Bradley or align with Bradley, and now they're not together anymore. So what kind of conversation did he have?
I think it's that same play that he played with Bradley, going, I will be trustworthy. Let me be on the inner circle.
But what does he expect to happen next week? So we've got everybody on the inner circle now.
Yeah, but he has no choice. What's he going to do?
I guess so.
He's had his back to the wall the whole time. This is his only play. Unless he can find an immunity idol out
maybe
there.
He's hoping something will happen. They better get to that Ghost Island and do something fun. They better rearrange those flasks that they're breaking to make sure something fun happens, because I feel like that's the whole premise of this season. Nothing's happening.
Well, I think that there's been 2 games available and one was just turned down. Only one has been accepted. Kellen had a game offered and she said, no, I don't want to play. She didn't want to risk losing her vote. So I agree. I want to see Ghost Island brought back, and I think we're going to see that more significant in future episodes. So, yeah, I was bummed to see James go. He was my middle of the pack guy. I was indifferent about him for the most part, but I don't like. I'm always rooting for the underdogs, and so I'm rooting for Malolo.
Are you really, as a whole?
I guess I'm rooting for the Malolo people that have been kind of under the thumb of Navidi this whole season.
Michael.
And so
sure. Yeah.
I was just waiting for somebody to kind of flip something, to make something happen. And I thought this could be a moment we're going to see an old Navidi person leave. This is going to at least begin, changing the momentum in the other direction, but that is not what happened.
Yeah, I do like it when we get a little momentum change.
All right, Amber, outplayed, outlasted, outwitted. What do you got?
Based on what Conrad said, I'm going to go with the outlasting to be Desiree, because I felt like she should have been targeted. She should have been sent home. She did a terrible job during that competition.
Yeah.
If you're looking for somebody to send home, that would have been a good excuse to do it. So I think Desiree outlasted because of not being voted out.
I agree. There's something that happened between Desiree and Angela, or Kellen and Angela, or Desiree and Kellen and Angela. Something in there, some conversation happened that convinced Angela to stick with those old Navidi lines. And I don't know what it is. I'm excited about hearing, some of these exit interviews down the road, because they're all still in the game right now. We don't know.
True. It would be interesting to hear James's exit interview and see if he realized that Michael had also turned on him.
Yeah. So, let's touch on that real quick. So, for James, this was an absolute blindside. James was not ready. Just looking at his face, he
was shocked. I'm just surprised that he could have been that shocked, because to me it seemed like it was a real teeter-tottery. It could have gone one way or the other.
Yeah, well, so based on the edit, right, you and I thought Desiree was going home.
Yeah.
And so he must have, obviously he's there, he's not watching the edit, but those things must have actually happened that made him feel comfortable that I'm with Michael, Angela's with us, we're sending Desiree home. That's what he had to think was happening.
Do you think so? Jeff tallies the votes, and if it would have been, if there was another vote in there for Desiree, he would have balanced it out. He would have said 1 vote for Desiree, 1 for James, 1 vote for Desiree, 1 for James. But the fact that he pulled a James out and not another Desiree, he doesn't have to, but he normally does. He suspends the tension as long as you can. So I wonder if that was when James was like, oh, they both voted against me. There are no more votes in there for Desiree. He just looked so betrayed, and I didn't feel like he had that much going with Angela. Yeah. She just must have been convincing.
And the camera angles made it look like he was looking at Angela. That's what I thought. But maybe.
Who knows?
But once we saw that final Michael voted James?
Yeah.
And so apparently
that was a blindside, I guess. Yeah.
It was 4 against 1 somehow. I don't know.
But I do think Michael, I think he would have saved James if he could. I think this was just I don't think he was lying to James the whole time and wanted to send him home. I think he just chose what he had to at the end.
I completely agree. So I think that's great, Amber, that the outlasted is Desiree.
Okay, so how about
outplayed? I think it's Wendell. I think Wendell.
Oh my gosh, he did great.
He did so good, and then even he made a mistake there, but because he played so well in his calling role, he was able to make up huge time in the puzzle and the immunity. So I'm going with my man Wendell.
I like it. So then we just have outwit.
Outwitted. Outwitted. Well, it wasn't Michael and James like I thought it was going to be.
Right. Nope.
And so I guess you have to give it to Desiree and Kellen.
I guess. Or Angela. I don't know. Did she outwit anybody? She just swayed. I don't know.
I just feel, I guess my thought is we give it to the two of them, and Desiree and Kellen, because Angela feels like a swing vote to me. I don't think she's calling the shots, but
That's true. She didn't make a power move. She just kind of swung to one side.
She swung. Somebody convinced her. And so we'll just double it up and give it to Kellen Desiree.
Okay.
So there we go. Yeah, so we'd love to know what you guys out there think. Who do you think outplayed, outlasted, and outwitted tonight? We would love to get your input or how and why you disagree with our choices.
You can find us just about anywhere at Segments Cast. And if you're looking for another podcast to listen to, you can join us on our regular twice-a-month podcast just called Segments, where we talk about a variety of topics and divide it into different segments.
That is right. Last time we did an episode all about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and we are planning, and we're moving towards doing one about
animals? Pets?
Something. So keep your eyes peeled for that. So that's going to be great. So thank you again for joining us for Segments As Spoken, a Survivor Fancast. It's so good breaking this episode down with you, Amber.
Absolutely. I had a great time. You all can grab your torches, head back to camp.